consider the importance of children in the Salem witch trials, you have to ask why they were often portrayed as innocents, referred to as afflicted girls and tormented children. Without their fervour, how very differently would the events at Salem have played out? Anyone who's read or seen a performance of Miller's Crucible will get the undeniable entertainment value of bickering children. The poison they exhibit is undoubtedly relatable to those who have witnessed the brilliant cunning of the young, and perhaps even remember and recognise it from their own childhoods. You have to wonder whether it's our need to protect the innocent that gives the youngsters free range to explore the deepest reaches of their imagination without fear of recrimination. When 4-year-old Dorcas Good proclaims in a Salem cell that she has a little snake that sucked on the lowest joint of her forefinger, she's given the opportunity to implicate another in the gift of the snake, and she chooses her own mother. In Frances Hill's A Delusion of Satan, the full story of the Salem witch trials, she questions whether the children were fully aware of the power of their accusations to send people to their deaths. The adults would certainly have had their own agenda. They knew exactly what fate befell the accused and would use this power to seek revenge for petty disputes. It's true that many genuinely believed in the power of witchcraft and feared it, but to others it was a convenient way of using and abusing a higher power to satisfy their gripes. Frances Hill also makes the important observation that children in 17th century New England had very short childhoods. For girls it was particularly brief. While boys were able to go out hunting, trapping, fishing, and taking part in crafts such as carpentry, girls had fewer opportunities to express themselves and be expected to be chaste and reserved, with the only activity allowed to be that of the endless work around the house. Is it any wonder, then, that once the touch paper of devilry was lit, there'd be no holding these girls back? In Ronald Seth's 1969 work, Children Against Witches, he explores the testimonies of children beyond Salem and shows evidence in England, Scotland, and mainland Europe, where the rules of evidence are suspended to allow children under the legal age to testify. The most outrageously implausible accounts of devilry were to be taken on board by learned men as though the most natural of unnatural occurrences. In the case of the 16th century wicked children of war boys in Huntingdonshire, which Seth describes as one of the great causes célèbres of witchcraft, it was shown to have influenced many notorious cases, including that of Salem. Certainly the accounts of the possession of the children in England bears striking resemblances to that of their counterparts in New England. And thanks to the family at the heart of the case, the Throckmortons, we have extensive records of 10-year-old Jane's fitting episodes and those of her young accomplices, her 4 sisters, and 7 servant girls. The object of accusation relating to witchcraft in this case was 76-year-old Alice Samuel, a seemingly kindly woman who was bewildered by the accusations and, though initially denying them as being down to the girl's wantonness, eventually accepted her fate when the time came. There also seems to be a certain degree of competitiveness with the girls, each trying to outdo the other in dramatic showmanship. Jane's elder sister, 15-year-old Joan, put in particularly impressive performances. For she, having more strength than they and striving more with the spirit than the rest, not being able to overcome it, was the more grievously tormented. It forced her to seize, shriek, and groan very fearfully. Sometimes it would heave up her belly and bounce up her body with such violence that had she not been kept upon her bed, it could not but have greatly bruised her body. Christina West's excellent Reading the Salem Witch Trial is a welcome addition to the works that have attempted to examine the fascinating phenomenon of children in witch trials. Using her extensive research, she explores the psychology behind the afflicted and tormented, with a clear head and not an ounce of sentimentality. It treads previously unexplored paths and pries open long-neglected ancient doors in an attempt to discover the truth with a fearlessness not often shown in such an emotive subject. This needs to be on every bookshelf of those who would uncover and understand the mistakes of the past and to make sure it should never be allowed to happen again. Never underestimate an uncommonly small witch.